Nos casos em que a pessoa que foi ofendida, ela guarda mágoa, como o mediador pode fazer para resolver o caso?
It is normal when somebody who has been victimized, either by bullying or by some harmful action, to come to the meeting still feeling very angry, very hurt. This is, in fact, you would expect this. And they need an opportunity to express their pain, express their hurt, express their anger. And in fact, we want this to happen because the youngster or the young person who has caused this harm needs to hear this. Also, the parents will express anger. This is not a calm meeting. There are certain ground rules that everybody needs to respect, which they have agreed to before they arrive, so that it is a safe meeting. But certainly anger and hurt and tears happen in that meeting. And one of the biggest things that everybody needs is to have a chance to tell their story and to feel heard. And then after that, we then move into putting things right. And what then they need to see that the person who's caused the harm acknowledges it. And because in the traditional system, when somebody does something wrong and they are punished, the person who has been victimized has nothing. There's no closure. They have no answers to their questions. They never get the chance to see if the person who's caused them harm accepts responsibility or acknowledges it. And in fact, the traditional system of punishing youngsters who, for example, engage in bullying or violent behavior will actually make the situation worse and more dangerous for the people who have been harmed. Because, and I quote a very well-known writer in the field, John Braithwaite, he has this wonderful sentence: punishment does not make a young person reflective, it makes them resentful. So after the punishment, they may well go back to the person they have harmed and do more harm. Whereas in a restorative process, there is closure. Very often we get statements from people after the process, and they say, for example, the person who's caused the harm, I didn't realize what I'd done. I really appreciate now what I have done, and I appreciate the opportunity to put it right, and I will not repeat this behavior. The person who has been victimized will say, I really experienced genuine remorse from this person. I now believe what they say when they say they are sorry, and I believe them when they say they're not going to do it again. We cannot just expect the child to change overnight, but we need to understand the underlying reasons and provide them with the support to change. Punishment does not provide people with the support to change.
Como é feita a mediação entre os envolvidos no conflito ou no problema?
And in community mediation, we have a special framework for both sides, again, to tell their story, to explain to each other what they have been experiencing, and then moving towards finding a way forward that they will both agree to enable them to live in harmony. And the term mediation is used for this. So I use this term in my approach to the restorative approach, when we are talking about bringing just two people together, not the whole bigger meeting, which I use the phrase the restorative conference. At the mediation, it might be a simple argument. It might have been brought about by a simple argument between two people, a student and a student, a member of staff and a student, maybe two members of staff. This process is not just for young people, it is for the whole community of the school. If there is a disagreement or a conflict between people in the school building or outside the school building, this mediation process allows these people to have a chance to try and resolve their difficulty. The facilitator needs to spend some time privately with both sides, going through some simple questions. Tell me what happened. And then encouraging them to tell the story. I teach a few techniques for this, what is called active listening. No interruption, no judgment, no disapproval, no no advice, just tell me what happened. So they get an opportunity to relive the experience and to get in touch also with what was going on in their head, because that will influence the emotion, and the emotion will influence what they do. And then we ask them to think about who has been affected. We are trying to encourage empathy, a realization that the action has effect. Then we ask, so what do you need now? Sometimes we are in a hurry to rush to solution, but before the solution stage we need to understand the needs of the people involved and then help them together to find a way, and this is the next final question, what can happen now then to meet your need and to put things right? And people can work with this once they've had a chance to express their needs. And these questions, what happened, what were you thinking and how were you feeling? I call this two parts of the same question. Who's been affected? What is it you need now to move on? So you work with what they're saying to see if you can then encourage, not force, but encourage them to try a face-to-face meeting, because it is better if they can then hear what the other person's perspective is. So you get them to the meeting. We ask first the story, what happened and thoughts and feelings of both. Then we ask both who they think has been affected. Then we ask both what you need to move forward. And then we sit back a little bit and say, so you have heard what you both need. What could you do now? And we almost become invisible, because now they are ready to talk. They were not ready when they first came in, but often now they are. So the mediator must be quiet and empower these people to start talking. That's what happens in the big circle meetings as well. Once we get to that stage, people are generally ready to start to communicate, and it is a transformative moment when people at last start to take their masks off and communicate face to face.
Essa mediação ela pode ser feita pelo próprio estudante, afinal de contas, ele tem a mesma idade dos companheiros dele que podem estar envolvidos no problema.
I am very enthusiastic about mediation done by students for students. In English we use the term peer mediation. What you need is a system in a school where the minor conflicts and problems, the day-to-day problems in the playground, in the classroom, can be dealt with by the students. And they are very good at this. They learn much more quickly than adults, because they do not have the baggage that we have as adults who want to solve problems or punish or give our advice. The children do not have this baggage. And I have trained students as young as 7 to be mediators for their own age group, as well as up to 18. In England, we have a system of mentors in school. These are not practicing teachers, they are offering support to the teachers, maybe teaching assistants or mentors. They have a little bit more time. Because teachers cannot just stop their class to do a mediation, of course. But sometimes these people can. So you have a sequence of responses, a scaled response, using the students for the least serious, using adults for the middle cases, maybe face-to-face, and then for the more serious cases, using the full meeting and maybe a senior member of the staff.